When we last spoke, I left on a cliffhanger. Ooh! That's a... Two failed introductions back to back, one with a rhyme, another with saliva entering my lungs. But what I was attempting to say is that at the end of part 2, I left you with quite a cliffhanger. How does so exploit this particular situation? Here's the situation. Here's the down low. Here's the scoop. Here's what's up. soO's has shown air and a fast third. We have done this hydralisk opening. I think that what we're going to see is going to be one of the most counterintuitive things ever, but it doesn't make sense until we begin to think through all the possibilities. So let's just work under a very reasonable assumption. If soO's is going for fast air and a fast third, he probably has a really smart way to hold off most of those early attacks. We probably wouldn't want to continue to flood hydralisks and flood lings in order to try to take it down. I find that always to be somewhat of a risky proposition. In last game, we were getting our 4th, we had Vipers on the way, so had a huge series of follow-ups that would have worked long after that big maxed army attack happened. We don't want to ever really put ourselves in a situation as Zerg where we are forced to definitely kill that third or we lose. That means our opponent has a nice edge. He only has to really defend that attack. So we might say, well, what about if I tried to go for a fast hive to do the same thing as last game? A lot of hydras, a lot of roaches, and the vipers to support. Could potentially work, but we don't know what his composition is going to be. There's really 2 key compositions that are coming up for a Protoss in this spot. A fast robo to get Colossus in order to follow up with something like Blinkstalker Colossus as a core and maybe eventually teching to Zealot with leg speed and Templar. The other one is just Zealot Archon Air. This is soO's favorite style to do. We'll even see another game if we have time where soO's just rolls so, going for mass air with Zealot Archon. So, to try to just say, oh, if we get Vipers... I mean, Vipers are like one of the worst units against Zealot Archon. Because Blinding Cloud, well, all the units are melee anyways, so it doesn't really affect it. What are you going to abduct an Archon? Well, there's Zealots already storming down on you, so your units are still going to auto-target the Zealots, and the Archon's going to be happily closer in the middle of a crowd, dealing AoE. Maybe we would say that our Viper play is good against Colossus Stalker, though. Maybe we'd say that, but the issue is that our opponent is very, very quickly transitioning to some sort of Colossus force, if that's what he's up to. In the production tab, we don't see it yet, but we could possibly see it starting very soon. Colossus can be out very soon, and in reasonably high numbers very soon. Were we to go Vipers, our opponent would have plenty of time to get a big count of Colossus up. Like a big count. Because he's basically going Stargate, Expand, Colossus, then Gateway Tech. What I'm doing is I'm walking through all the possibilities of what soO's can be doing and thinking of what soO's plan could be as a result. But the way I've been talking about it is in terms of reacting. If you're playing too reactively, then you're just giving your opponent a kind of a free ride. You're saying, you do your thing, you pressure me in the way that you want to, and I hope I can do my best. What we're going to see so do is he's going to be bringing the noise right back on soO's. One of the weirdest, most counterintuitive plays that we're going to see so do is focus on going mass air to deal with a player who went for fast Phoenix and a fast third base. Seems not to make sense, but we're going to talk about it as it unfolds. First, let's establish that so is going to be going for this air play. And let's watch how he begins to do it. We'll see why down the line. But in the interim, wow, Zergling's still monitoring what's up. Still seeing them Phoenixes come up. Neato! Hydralisks spreading themselves out. How many Hydras? I don't know, 8, 9, something like that. 7. Enough to where they stick together and don't accidentally all get lifted. In that production count, we're actually going to see drones. Drones, 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 drones. So many drones. Massive numbers of drones. Zerglings are actually on their own hotkey, number 2. Hydralisks on a different one. We're going for a rather fast expansion. And the Spire, cool. It's not a fast Spire, it's actually kind of a late Spire. Phoenixes are still being annoying. But we want to make sure that our enemy isn't getting a 4th base. The play that we're going to see so do exploits how hard it is for Protoss to get a 4th freaking base. Lifts going down, no problem. Masses of drones. Still just the same 7 Hydralisks. And you know what sounds good? How about a 5th base? Phoenixes are really bad at lifting buildings. Our Zerglings are still keeping a good tab on everything that's going in and out of that space. We see the Robo plopping down. Fantastic. We see yet some more geysers going down, more drones. We even see a ling upgrade. It's a little bit unusual. So there's a lot of different things going on. First of all, there's the setup that we're seeing out of so. There's this implied huge safety because he only has 7 Hydralisks. What the hell's up with that? How is that even possible? Here's what I want to do. I want to go to the the SOS cam. I want to go to Protoss and I want to show you that when a Protoss does these sorts of fast expands, these sorts of diverse tech plays, they just don't have much. SOS throwing down his 3rd base after getting himself a very fast Stargate. How was he able to do that? Well, he delayed his forge a bit.
Research complete.
So cool. Ooh, look at that. Hyper fast robo facility. Yeah. Cannon going down. We have some sentries up on the high ground for defense. Oh yeah, harassing the queen. We're awesome, man. I'm actually going to remove this production tab. We're getting some gateways to defend our front. Man, I really want that robo done so we can start getting some useful units. We're going to get some observers right away, I think. You know, I kind of want to get a photon cannon because I'm not seeing any geysers here. So this guy could be preparing to do a huge attack. You know, let me even get a 2nd photon cannon at my expansion. Alright, nice. What else do I think is going to be important to get? Well, I got my gases there. I want to get my upgrades started to be able to soon have some fancy schmancy air units. And okay, I'm feeling more comfortable. I got my 3 gates en route. Opening up the production because very soon here, SOS adds on a gateway. Actually getting a little supply block. Oopsie daisies. Oh, there's the Robo Bay. Nice. Let's go ahead and get a Void Ray for a little bit of added defense here. He could be going for some sort of Roach Hydra attack. So far my unit count is, well, it's 5 Zealots and 2 Sentries. SOS has made quite a lot of units out of these very recent gateways. And he's gotten the geysers up, and right as we're able to begin Colossus number 1, right as our very first Void Ray pops out, so is already taking a 5th base, a 4th base, and his Spire's nearing done. Oh, wow. At rather quick pace. It's very easy to also ask the question, what if so isn't against a player going Colossus? What if so is against one of these guys who goes Stargate straight into Zealot Archon? No big deal. so has tons of scouting information. He sent an Overseer. Here's the Overseer. It's gotten to see everything. It's gotten to see the Changeling. There's not enough units and coverage for SOS to be able to both prevent an Overseer from getting in the main base and do active damaging things with Phoenixes. so is utterly safe in this position. Absolutely and completely. And something that delights me is that we've seen some crazy withhold the larva play from EG's J-Dom. But here, no beating around the bush. 6 Corruptors right out the gate. 5 Mutalisks right out the gate. Mass drones being pumped out as fast as possible, not even withholding on defensive structures. Corners are really not being cut. Nothing clever is occurring right now. Just massive churning out of all the production. And of course an upgrade at the Spire. I prefer armor, but I can completely see an argument for attack since the Corruptors will be the ones engaging in the battle. And just tons and tons of drones. Now here's the trick to this style of play where we begin to really mass up the Mutalisks. What is a Protoss to do when he starts to see mutas pop out? Well, let's look at the gateway count. Could he go for a Stalker-based defense with Blink? I mean, I guess so. But this is actually a pain in the ass to get across with Blink Stalkers. Mutals can easily dart in here, and the Stalkers kind of have to blink to here, and then wander away to here, which gives soO plenty of time to just hit this third with the mutas. I mean, map analysis is not as hard when you just start imagining the units one at a time. Can Blink Stalkers hold off Mutalisks? Yes. Can Phoenixes hold off Mutalisks? Yes. But what about on this map? Well, let's consider Blink Stalkers on this map. Jeez, that's a real pain in the ass. So I guess it's going to be Phoenixes. So okay, here's the basic play from soO. The only thing that you can do now as Protoss is build a ton of Phoenixes. You are forced into that position. We are not being reactive. We are forcing you, Protoss, sir, to do something. And we, then, are going to literally get so many Mutalisks with 10 gas geysers. I mean, look at this. They're not even done. We got the drones lining up to be inside. We're literally going to get so many Mutalisks that you will be forced to burn cash on Phoenixes for the rest of the game, and we will overwhelm you with air. This is exactly how soulkey defeated soO's in WCS Season 1 in Korea. soO is just getting plentiful, bountiful amounts of Corrupta. And hey, guess what? Remember those hydras? Remember those lings? All game long they're going to be useful. Remember that +1 attack? All game long that's going to be useful. 86 drones. What? That's so many drones. How do I know if I have enough drones? Well, don't worry. 16 mining minerals at each base. Joink, joink, and zdoink. 16 mining minerals at each base. 3 in each gas geyser. Everywhere else. And then a couple extra. It's the best way to think of it. Like these two drones, these drones here could just as easily have been at this base, rounding it up to 16. It's really just 16 mining minerals at each base, 3 in each geyser at each base, and then just a couple extra mining minerals. Maxing out the gas. The gas is the real key. So soO is going to exploit just the obvious weakness. He doesn't even have a lot of Mutalisks, and he has like 5. Stalkers aren't going to be able to get anywhere nearby here. Mutalisk count continues to rise, Corruptor count continues to rise, and Sean's inability to hit the right buttons continues to rise. There we go, that's what I wanted to do. One thing I like about soO is that he's going to actually add a second Spire to double up on the upgrades. Extremely wise. Continuing to upgrade melee for 2 reasons. 1, it lets our Zerglings continue to have utility throughout the game. We can make Zerglings do counterattacks throughout the game. But also, if we're focusing heavily on air, we'll probably reasonably get Broodlords later on down the line. So let's go ahead and get our Broodling upgrades going, shall we? This is just a very fast pace out of soO. He's getting spores. And what I love is that The instant soO starts to get big advantages, we're going to see him make very safe answers. Now, out of soO's, we're seeing that he has the 2 Stargates. He's getting the range upgrade for Phoenixes. Does he have a 3rd Stargate? Nah, just 2. But he does have 8 gateways. He's getting blink. He's getting +3. Might even think about moving out. And soO's is getting... Oops. Our Zerg buddy is getting another evolution chamber. Infestation pit for Hive. It's not going to be anything too wacky. I mean, it really is just focused on the air. So what's soO doing right now? He's rounding out. He's making sure that he's getting upgrades for his lings / future broodlings. Remember how I talked about blink being a not so nice experience? We're going to see more and more and more of that as time goes on. soO is just not even really going to be that clever with these units. He's not even going to micro them fantastically. Simple ling hydra counterattacks will deal with almost any threat. A lot of corruptors. And watch this. Watch. Oh, he's killed it all. Fantastical. Well, he's just hitting the same spot. He's not even bouncing back and forth. He's just attacking like a place. And this is where soO goes, hey, I've got an advantage. I've killed off this base. I'm dealing harassment damage. God, I hope I don't lose to counterattack Dark Templar. I mean, he has money. It's very easy to be like, ooh, I'm going to throw stuff down. Ooh, I'm going to throw stuff down. I think that this is where the famous Protosses phrase gets most often misunderstood and misinterpreted. When ahead, get more ahead. When you have a lead, it's very easy to kind of blow your lead or to not really know what the next step is and to sort of overextend with an attack and that sort of thing. If you have a lead, you don't ever have to win right now. You just have to get more ahead, as Protosses would say. But what people will mistakenly do is say, aha, I'm winning with this Mutalisk attack. I'm going to try to expand 2 more times because I have the money to. And they do what I call trying to very win. You don't need to very win. You just need to win by the slightest, thinnest of margins. So when you are ahead, your goal now is not to win, it's just to not lose. So begin to ask yourself, how do I lose? DT counterattacks. Drops back in the back of my main base. DT counterattacks up here. I lose if this base or another base anywhere on the map gets planted down without me even seeing it. If he sneaks a base, it's going to be horrible. So anytime I'm ahead, I begin to scout for bases. I begin to make sure that I'm not forgetting my upgrades. That's a really easy way to lose. Look at this. Ling / Broodlord upgrades popping out like crazy. Oh, a Warp Prism was seen. What's a really easy way to lose? Warp Prism counterattacks. soO says, I have the advantage. He doesn't try to overwhelm and win. He pulled back every damn unit he had to kill off that Warp Prism. I love when people play safe. Fantastic move there by soO. Never be afraid to play it very safe when you are ahead. To do the boring move that's just annoying for your opponent to deal with. And we're going to see yet another non-fancy, another non-micro-intensive, non-brilliant play. Just a solid, clear play. These 2 bases are very hard to defend with just blink. Here is a weak point. soO is just going to drill it till it falls. We even see, what do you know? A 3rd Stargate down from soO. In fact, soO is producing Phoenixes 3 at a time. He only has 8? Wow. That's what happens when your opponent gets 20 Corruptors and 23 Mutalisks. So we see this attack here. We see the Phoenixes trying to do their thing. And, I mean, the Blink Stalkers just can't really blink easily between these 2 bases. So let's go to the soO cam, see what's going down. Just taking things out. Very unusual looking play. Out Mutalisking a player who is going for air. Because what else can soO's really do? The Lings are going to try to counterattack here. The Mutalisks are going to continue to counter. But what now? We have a huge army moving across. Here's what I love. so is just going to be flooding up spines on all his fronts. And he's going to be doing one of the most interesting spine crawler floods of all right here. Let's watch him close the game out from the so cam.
Our forces are under attack.
Mutalisks march right in. Fantastic. You're building phoenixes. I have more than enough gas. Here comes the huge unit flood from SOS to try to take down bases. Oh, free Archon. Fantastic. Free in that I am using my mineral stuff. My spine crawlers to kill your gas-heavy dude, the Archon. I'm using my ground units to kill your anti-air units. The Mutalisks just being rallied back here, where spine crawlers are being flooded. Sacrificing the main, sacrificing the third, eviscerating everything that SOS has. I mean, SOS is doing just a great job of controlling this, but so is doing a great job of having, 40 Mutalisks. And this is not even a base trade. Not in the slightest. This is just an unbelievably safe, easy move from so, who's now getting some free units. Because why? SOS has to spend so much energy microing his stuff against these. I want to come back to just a few seconds before those Colossus got picked off. Having Phoenixes go up against Corruptors is one of the most difficult micro maneuvers in the game. You have to have absolute razor focus on your Phoenixes. And you don't really have to do very much with the Corruptors. You're just like, attack. I guess retreat. Okay, attack. Ugh. Alright, retreat. You don't have to do that much sophisticated. But even if you're up against the best Protoss in the world, arguably, he's going to have to spend all his time looking at those Phoenixes. So when you are engaged with a Muta-Corruptor battle versus Phoenixes, that is the perfect time to do counter-harassment against the forces down here. He just will never really have the APM to be able to manage both at once. He has to be focused on the Phoenixes. So look at this. Cleaning up with reinforcing Mutalisks. so having a whole army up here, just the reinforcing Mutalisks were able to withstand everything. I think it's fantastic, fantastic play. So the chat works again! Woo! Let's play Pokemon! I'm gonna turn off subscribers. We'll probably just take one, maybe two questions. No one has any questions. Man, I certainly did a good job on this episode. Ooh! Oh, but of course, Utori Kyoya. Always coming up. Always coming up. Oh, Utori's asking about Game 5 of Jaedong versus Hero at IM Cologne, the fantastic game on Yonsu. I'd have to rewatch it very closely to be able to determine how Hero pulled that match off. It was very, 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 very tricky. I was like, that's a dead man, but obviously things went awry. Certainly I think that Jaedong may have kecked a bit too fast. So we got two questions from someone, Benny Highline Poner. Sorry, your name is in like bright green. It's like impossible to read. Asks how the style would fare against fast Colossus, and there was another question about how it deals with Zealot Archon. I talked a little bit about those in part 3. So in this game, if you want to know what would happen in this game if that happened, then rewatch part 3. As for like, what if my opponent went for a 2-base Colossus play? What then? What's very nice is that you have plenty of time if your opponent's... Actually, here's a simple statement. If your opponent's stick into 2 base and you open with this ling hydra style, you can pretty much go roach hydra against anything he does and win. Like, at all. 3 base roach hydra beats 2 base Protoss, anything. Just overwhelming numbers. If you see no 3 base and you've opened up hydra, get the roach warren earlier, but other than that, flood hydras, stay at 66 drones, don't get a lot of extra stuff, maybe a 4th macro hatch, but that's about it. Let's just take one more. Yeah, if you're up against 2 base Colossus all in with this build, you're going to just take a huge dump on it. So Urisk asks, this is, I think, the most important question to ask. Day 9, the whole strength of soO's build seemed to be based on his ability to scout. So what happens if the Protoss completely denies your vision? He cannot ever deny those early scouting speed Zerglings. That is what is so important about that early Zergling speed. All strategies in StarCraft 2 stem from, when is the 3rd base going down? So again, let's take an earlier statement I said. 3 base Roach Hydra with a macro hatch will beat 2 base anything. I don't care what it is, it will just get skewered. Because you will have too much stuff. So those speed Zerglings between 8 and 10 minutes, at around 8 minutes, they're going, wait, is there a 3rd base going down? Cannot possibly deny those speed Zerglings unless you have the worst speed Zergling control in the universe. Can't ever be prevented from checking the 3rd with those. Well, great. If you're going up to the 10 minute and you haven't seen a 3rd base, get that Roach Warren. Anything can be beaten with Roach Hydra on 3 base versus a Protoss 2 base, given that the game continues to go on. Nice. Well, what about if he's going for a tech like air? Those speed Zerglings and the Overlords will guaranteed see those air units soon enough. Guaranteed. He can't possibly hide the air units for long enough. But you know what? Let's even work under the assumption that our opponent is going for hidden air as fast as possible. Hidden Phoenix. Surprise, I got 5 Phoenix out of nowhere. Ooh, well. I still have the Hydras out, so I'm okay. You actually gave me time to get the Hydras out, so I as a Zerg take less damage. Thank you for hiding your Phoenixes and having a worse attack. Great news for me. Okay, well my Zerglings are still spotting your 3rd base timing, so I'm getting an easy shot with that. I'm getting to see what units you're warping in with my speed Zerglings. Yeah, I mean, if you delay with Phoenixes, you're just going to do less damage. Good, nice. What if you're doing a hidden Void Ray attack? Well, I'm still getting Hydras up in pretty big numbers. I mean, in both these games, you'll see that soO is making Hydralisk for quite a long time. It's pretty late in the game when he's able to get a whole bunch of Hydras up, so... Nice, so far so good. I mean, it's so easy. And you know what? If you're ever having doubt, don't worry, because guess what? Speed Zerglings at the front, plus an Overseer at the back, cannot possibly get denied. You just get way too much information. And, I mean, the tricky thing is trying to measure, or trying to keep track of all those things together. Like, okay, I see air units and no 3rd base. Actually, no, it's not. I don't know why I'm acting like it's hard. Look, it's not hard. The 3rd base is the key, and the Zerglings will always see that. If you see no 3rd, Roach Hydra. If you see a 3rd, get the Overseer in there and look at it. But what if he denies the Overseer Scout? He can't! You got Speed Zerglings at his front. He's got to worry about the Speed Zerglings at your front. He can't both have tons of units in the main base to shoot down the Overseer and have tons of units at the expansion to prevent the Zerglings from getting more information. The only way he could do both of those is if he has a whole bunch of gateways warping in a whole bunch of gateway units. And hey, great, we got the chance to find out that he's going gateways. That's exactly the information that we're looking for. Oh my god, I'm good at my job. See you tomorrow for me playing the worst decks possible in Hearthstone.
Crush that show. Nailed that question. Fantastic final question from Urisk. I give you all the brownie points. High five to you. Hell yeah, asking the pertinent shits. Question time is over. Let's listen to the beats.